All right, Master of None fans, what's up? It's time. We're going to talk about episode 5 and episode 6. We loved them. We got a great panel. Master of None, AfterBuzz. Let's get it going now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Cue the music. Oh, we could almost turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little quiet.
Don't you feel that?
That is kind of sad, that scene.
It was melodic and...
But that's sometimes like how a night is that you go out and you're kind of like, you're with this girl and you're like, yeah, it's like, only if she was my girl, but she's not my girl. So you're just like, just kind of sitting there just pondering. And that's the kind of song that comes in your, like as a guy anyways.
That's
like
true.
And I feel like songs always come in my head all the time. So like, I was like, oh, that's how I would actually look, think, and act, yeah.
One moment he was so high and then the next so low.
He was just confused with the situation at hand, and that's Master of None for you. What's up, guys? I'm Ronnie Jr. My social media is @randomlyrj because I guess I'm very random, and I'm randomly sitting next to this beautiful Miss Paige.
Hi, I'm Paige Stroobach, and I'm Paige Kelly Bach on all social media.
Hey guys, I'm a Rick of all trades, but a master of none. You can find me on all social media @Rickhong, RICKHONG.
Hi, and I'm Tsahai, and you can find me @SayHiTsahai on Instagram, Twitter, and sometimes Snapchat. Just sometimes.
I like the
What does it
sometimes
depend on? Like, is it like Memorial Day weekend?
You know, I have
then?
to have the time. It has to be epic in order to post it to both. It's a lot going on. You know, so many streams to ways to put things.
It just depends. It just
Yeah.
depends on if you're like that lucky guy. You know, if you're like that lucky guy that's just like, hey, send me something sexy. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay.
She's
okay.
beyond talking about Whole Foods at this point.
Okay.
And then she checks the
Exactly.
wrong thing and she's like, oh no, it went out to everybody.
Oh, wait, side note, do people like DM me on things like say hi,
No, I wish they would. I need more date options. So please.
I feel like
DM
when we
me.
say it to you, I'm like, oh, I don't want to like bug her by like messing with say hi, but I'm like, that's the social media you chose.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Thank
yeah.
you. You know, we can thank my mom. So.
I
She
prefer
created.
that over I am Tsahai.
right.
Or say bye. Yeah.
Or
see
the
that?
official.
Yeah. Well, no, the official's fine. But
It's witty, and that's what we love about you, Tsahai. And also your birthday month.
Oh yeah.
come on, Gemini
I mean,
season.
We got a 7 days counting down.
Almost as cool as the Virgos, but
Just
I digress.
you know, not as cool as the Virgos. But yes, my birthday is Thursday, so I'm taking happy birthday wishes now. The partying begins now, so we'll be starting to party as soon as possible.
Birthday week.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing a show probably when you're
I'll
celebrating.
probably be celebrating with you guys.
Yeah,
We're gonna
and
try,
I'm sure
we're gonna try, yeah,
in
yeah.
your celebrations with all your several friends, you'll have some dinner party of some sort. And that, of course, is what the name of the episode was.
Yes.
But we started off with the return of Cupcake Wars because in the end of episode 2, we knew it was coming because his agent, booked him this job. What do you
Yeah.
guys think of Cupcake Wars? And I think Jabberwocky's like starting
I mean,
it off.
he's really found a place. I think, for going from Italy and then kind of figuring out what he's going to do with his life, as I feel like as an actor, just as you need to stay working, and this was his opportunity to stay working. Maybe it wasn't his dream job, but
Right.
it just kept the energy going.
But that's exactly it. I think being on set as a working actor, or just as an actor, even if it's not your ideal job, is so different than being a server waiting for the right job.
Right.
I mean, good for him. He's being proactive. He's doing something. But at the same time, he is really lost with what he wants to do. And so I don't know if
His
it's
nice-
kind of making him give up on chasing something else.
And
I'm
I
not
think his
entirely
nice
sure.
guyness, like he's always so like a nice guy. I feel like it doesn't allow him to like freely be angry at the job because he's always go with the flow dev.
Well, he's got that segment producer Lawrence who didn't make it easy.
there's always that guy. I mean, but the truth is that guy is actually. He's doing the opposite of what most people should do. Like in a corporate environment, a lot of the times it's people bickering at each other, and there should be someone to say like, do we have a common goal?
Right.
Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
In this case, this guy blatantly screwed up, and it's like, and they kind of put it on Dev, like being like, no, dude, but we need to be a team. And it's just like,
Right.
no, you screwed up, so we can't be a team.
But Lawrence is like, I just want to finish my 12 to 14 hour day, eat
True.
some of the leftover cupcakes, and get out of here. Come
I know,
on.
doesn't he get points for being lovable though?
He is cute, and he
does.
flosses.
Like
and
I feel like when I
appreciate
talk to somebody somebody who's not that with it, at least if they're charming, it's okay.
It helps. And
You
he's
know,
cute
he wasn't
and cuddly.
mean.
Yeah.
I actually really like him. He's like one of my favorite little, side characters, not big characters. He's like
Right.
a ray of sunshine, even though he's so frustrating. when he
Yeah.
does
And the
that.
gal that was doing the makeup, she's one of the girls that's on Baywatch now, right?
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. She's
That was
gorgeous.
a very
Stunning.
beautiful looking woman.
She's
yes,
gorgeous. Yeah. So.
absolutely. After we,
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
yeah, I can't.
No, I'm just the whole time
Welcome,
in my
Rick.
brain I'm thinking, well, I didn't do so at the box office, and then I'm trying to think back to the old Baywatch, and I'm like, no, she can't be a Pamela Anderson.
No.
She's not Nicole Egger.
No.
So
That would be special though if Pamela Anderson was the makeup artist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take a different turn.
Yeah.
Next season for sure. What's interesting about her though, she made the little Indian joke too, where not joke, but he
Right.
reacted in a certain way.
Yeah, and then he ended up knowing the person that she was referring to, which was hilarious because he was ready. Like Dev is ready to let you know.
Like,
listen,
defend-
cultural
It was Raj,
appropriation.
right?
This is racism. Like he is standing up for everyone, and I appreciate it.
It was like, this is the one time that's not offensive. Excuse me. Sorry. And then Dev, as cute as he always is, he's always just so lovable. We see him go to the Brooklyn Museum.
Okay.
And go
Wait,
ahead,
let's
take
just
it.
take a moment to admire the Brooklyn Museum. New Yorkers here,
Yes.
anyone?
Yeah,
No,
I've
I'm not
been.
a New Yorker,
Haven't been.
but yes, for the
Haven't
admiring.
been.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful
Right
for
near
me.
Prospect Park and all
Yes,
that, yeah.
I used to. There's a library near there. As a kid, I used to go there and pretend I was studying, but I'd be hanging out with my best friend. But it's such a beautiful location, and I've always loved museums. So the fact that they shot in there and shot it so well, I really loved that.
And I love when I watch the show, I think it channels in your own mind like things you want to do. I was actually texting with some friends. We have friends that are coming in town, and they were like, oh, what can we do? And like the one thing is like beach biking in Venice Beach or whatever. And then the next thing I was like, oh, maybe we go to a museum. And I wonder like if it was because I watched this show
Maybe.
that I thought like, oh, museum would be nice.
But you know what?
But
I
this
just
is LA. You don't do that in LA. You go to Muscle
I go to
Beach, you go to
museums.
water, you see the. No. I'm
just
saying,
saying, why
I'm saying
not?
we do.
We could
but
just
I'm just
try
saying,
and
like,
discover it.
most people want to see. It's like they either want to see
Be
the Hollywood
outdoors.
sign or they
That's
want to see
true.
the beach. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
That's
I
all.
like the beach idea. I don't know if I want to do like Universal Studios or anything
You know
like
what?
that.
Yeah. I
We're
think
not going to do the
it's-
tourist stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want
It's
to see
way
the
better
Chinese
to
theater.
Yeah, it's way better to do a museum tour of LA, which I think is underrated.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people end up doing Hollywood. I remember when I moved here and did Hollywood, I was like,
How many
this-
years have you been here?
This is it, 6 years. And I was like walking down the boulevard and I was like, this is the dirtiest sidewalk
Yeah,
I've
right.
ever been.
you just gotta do it
I
at
was
least
like, where's all the
once.
stars' homes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to do it at least once.
You
but
have
now that I think about it, did you like a museum to me is a very date-like thing, and I mean I know they're friends, but now that I think back on it, it's felt
True,
kinda
but also
datey.
wasn't Francesca's fiance supposed to go to that?
Pino was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm wondering, do you think it's date like just because it became?
I think Pino was just busy.
Yeah, but I think he was supposed to go to the
Okay.
museum too.
Yeah.
And
Which
you
one-
want to see cultural stuff.
Yeah, and I guess it is New York, but now that after watching the entire episode, I'm like, maybe that was the beginning.
You know what? But I think their whole relationship since the beginning of the season to where we are now, she kind of has been leading him on. I can't blame him for having that
She has
feeling.
been?
I was gonna say the same.
Not
But
yet.
she
Not
has,
yet.
No, but I don't think she has like mentally, but it's starting to make sense. Like at this point in the show, I was like, what is going? Because
Right.
it's not. They just have such a
It's
deep
not
chemistry.
overt
and
right
knowing
now.
Dev too
Right.
as a character, it's just I can tell. Like
But it's also those things. It's like if you go to a different country and you've built some friends, and then all of a sudden your friends are like, "Well, I want to come visit." You know, you always offer that up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I'm friends." It's like, when you come visit me, hang out, and so she's clearly like, "Hey," and so, but obviously we definitely see some sort of like something
Yeah.
going on.
They just
That's
talk so
the-
comfortably. Like they talk comfortably about her fiance,
Right.
and they talk comfortably about him dating Priya.
Right.
And I think that's like that dangerous territory where you're starting to
Right.
talk about what you like intimately.
I want to talk about that date.
About the Priya date. Go. Do you have something first?
No, I have a question because this has been a huge topic of debate amongst friends of mine currently, and it's one of those things where it's like, can you be friends with a guy without, and a guy be friends with a girl without crossing on that like sexual territory and like understanding that it's not coming, or like
platonic
one person being
relationship?
like, no. Is there ever platonic from the start without someone maybe having a crush at some point, even if they don't declare it?
I got a great philosophy
Oh,
on this.
good.
My buddy had the best one. He said,
This
"This
is
is what
good.
happens. Guys surround themselves around girls that they think are probably equal or better looking than them.
Okay.
Because at any point in time, if there's a chance, they'll take the opportunity. Whereas a girl will
I love this.
never take that opportunity. Once she puts you somewhere, she won't take the opportunity. So that's why guys suck, because guys are shallow. because guys won't go below a certain threshold.
This is my favorite Rick Hong.
No, I'm just saying this isn't my philosophy.
Rickism.
This isn't my philosophy. This is my
too.
friend's philosophy. Is like how he explains the situation
your
to
friend.
me. And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, the only time that I've ever seen girls put themselves in a trap is in a roommate situation.
Okay,
I'll see like a girl,
I've seen that too.
yeah, where like certain guys will come in and like, you know, and out in the street you might sit there and say like, why is she? What? You don't get it,
Right?
But it's because the girl gets so comfortable with having the guy there. It's like, oh, but, you know, but he cooks or he cleans or like I don't have to go out and he's here and we watch movies, and then all of a sudden the guy is able to become the girl's like boyfriend, but only in that circumstance. In other circumstances, I've never seen it.
I think like if you cross that line and then you try to be friends, that's difficult. But if it's
Yeah, so you're
never
friends
happened,
first.
yeah, if it's never happened, I think it's easy to maintain that because
Okay.
you don't know what you're missing or you haven't already made that mistake. I mean, have you guys ever made the mistake of crossing that line with a friend and being like, oh, we should have never
I
done
tried
that?
many
Yeah,
times.
and
I
then-
tried many times.
You
and-
become something.
No, you're just like, this was a waste of my time, and I.
And you don't
never-
think you could dip back to friendship?
No, then it becomes awkward. Then you.
Yeah,
so you,
it's
you've
once
Not
you
lost
after a
cross
friend.
while.
No,
I
you've
think
lost
if
a
you
friend.
cross that line as a girl and you've already put them in the friend zone, you're like, and then you kind of just like even put a toe over it, and immediately you're like, oh my gosh, I just feel so bad. Like that was my reaction, and then it just ruined the whole friendship because I couldn't even just handle myself in the situation.
And that was my issue in this episode because I'm like, Dev doesn't have a girlfriend, so he can do whatever he wants. She's the one. I was just trying to see like when things changed, and I feel like it changed at the dinner party before Ravi interrupted when John Legend was singing that amazing Michael Jackson cover, which when I first watched it, I started crying because I love Michael Jackson and live music. It was so.
Oh, that's Michael Jackson's song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that either, or not the rendition.
You didn't know that?
Not off the top, no.
my
Didn't sound like Billie Jean or Beat It or Thriller
that was Michael
or.
Jackson. So I was mourning the loss of Michael Jackson and the fact
Side
that
note, were you more of a Janet or a Michael fan?
it depends on what time in my
Wait,
life.
are you like giving me the head shake because you think Michael for sure?
Dude, it's always Michael
Oh,
Jackson.
no.
And don't get me wrong, man. I love Janet Jackson too.
Honey,
man.
I love me some Janet though.
I love
like,
a
I'm-
Rhythm Nation,
well,
dude.
because
and, like,
Janet was my first concert ever. So
really?
like I think it always speaks to me. Like I was
Yeah.
about 14 years old. It was the Velvet Rope tour. So
Hey.
and then also because like she seemed more transparent. Michael seemed a little bit like unhappy with his own life. And I, as a viewer of these performers, I need you to like love yourself.
You were
And-
getting that deep into their psyche?
Sweetie pie. When I was
is a
when
deep
I was a
villain.
kid, like I'm the firstborn.
Yeah.
I hated being a kid. I would like cartoons. I was like, I don't want to watch cartoons. I was always like seeking what was
Were
happening.
you the
Yeah.
documentary kid? You
No,
were
he
like,
was
"This
watching
guy's gonna
MTV.
come
You were-
over."
No, I was
you
watching
wanted your MTV and you were watching
But
stuff.
I just didn't like being a baby. I didn't like
Okay, got it.
cartoons.
You was
and
grown.
So when I would like, I wouldn't just go to a concert and be like, oh, let's Janet, let's do the If. I was always like, I think I like Janet more than I like Michael.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like your reasoning. Too.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Well,
amazing.
what else did you guys think of this episode? Like,
Well, oh, go ahead. Did you have anything from the
no,
music?
should we back up to Priya first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like
absolutely.
that's the killer is when you have magic on that first. I mean, that
yes.
day was magic. We saw
So
it. We saw
good.
everything, and then the second date, it's like.
Priya was like a wet blanket
No,
on
but-
that
but
date.
it
She
seemed- but
was
it's
not
just-
even
I
trying.
feel
tried
like
to
I
figure
know
out
what
what
the problem
happens. Yeah,
Oh,
what
Can I
happens?
tell you what I thought?
Okay.
I think she like maybe in the time from she went out with him the first time, it was a lucky like, oh, I didn't plan this to be this good and it was amazing. But in the middle of that, she had been like, online with a bunch of other guys, and some other connection that she had elsewhere may have started to bloom a little bit more. So she's kind of I like Priya, so she's kind of bitchy because I feel like it wasn't him.
She wasn't
but
engaging.
She let it on like it was him, but I think it was, if you were to ask me, she had another one on deck.
Right.
But also, I feel like he was trying. He was the only one asking questions. He kept on trying to get something out of her, and she would give these one-word answers, and therefore they couldn't have a conversation because it was like he was there by himself anyway. And then they just had different interests. Like when she said she liked hockey, he was like, "Yeah, I'm just basically not a sports guy. Like we know Dev loves food. He loves, his friends. Like he
know
loves
what?
going out. So I just feel like they had different interests."
She wasn't malicious, but it was.
I think it's interesting though because the book that they say Inspire Disease about this is how millennials have too many decisions, and it's one of those
Too many
things where
choices.
like too many choices. So like maybe she ruined it from the first to the second, whereas he says his parents were just put together and they made it happen. It's the same thing. Like you can date someone who likes hockey and someone who doesn't like sports, but I've seen it work before. I think that there is a danger when you get into the online world when you see all the options that you're like, Well, I mean, he's like a 75, so
Right.
like I won't test it any further. But that's like a first date. You can't really
And it reminds
base it
me-
on that. But that's kind of what that world is leading us.
It
into.
reminds me of when Denise in season 1 when Denise said, "Wait, you're not going to go back with this Rachel girl?" And he's like, "No, we're going to go to the club with Arnold and Brian." And then she's like, "What? To just put a bunch of chicken heads in your phone again and like text them crazy?" And she was like, "Yeah, you don't know Rachel's going to be great, but like go chill with her. Maybe she can be great." You're right.
Yeah.
No one's giving connections
Anyone a
time. You know,
No.
you got to let the grass grow.
Yeah, we have a lot of options, and I think everyone's now thinking, okay, what if there's something better? That's
Yeah.
how, because we have so much access to it very quickly. We can go online and find someone new if we want to. So, I don't know, but I wasn't feeling Priya right now.
Will you ever want Priya back? Because I'm still.
No, she's dead to me.
She's gone.
Ah!
Okay, so we have. So,
We went there.
I didn't
I
like
love that line.
went
Priya was
there.
stank.
Oh no!
She was acting
Look at her.
stank.
She's looking at camera too.
And I didn't appreciate it. Dev was trying. He made 3 locations for you for one evening.
And he was paying out of his
He
cupcake,
did.
Clash of the Cupcake
His
paycheck.
cupcake new coins that
come
he
on,
just got.
You just getting that free meal.
I mean, he had to get the Arnie
Priya,
pep
Priya.
talk with it. Maybe he should have taken her to the barbecue and didn't
But she
care
did
at
buy
all.
the other bottle, like the other time. Remember, like she apologized in the first date where she said, "I'm on my phone too much, so let me buy the second bottle."
But
So
there
she's
was-
got some.
Yeah. That
So
was
she's
then.
got some
This is
manners.
now.
And there
Yeah,
were
that's
so
true.
many different vibes on that first one because, yeah, remember we made the comment, we're like, oh, it's okay if you do things that you're not supposed to, if you have a warm chemistry about it. So now she was doing things she shouldn't. And
But she wasn't even on the phone, I think, in this.
Yeah,
in this.
but
But
when,
it was
when
like
someone
she wasn't
talks
even
to you, yeah, when
there.
somebody talks
Yeah,
to you
right.
and they don't
She wasn't
answer you,
engaging.
Yeah.
I feel, because I'm the type, if you don't answer me, well, then let's just cut this right this
Exactly.
second. Like, I'm not going to work extra hard. Like,
Good
this
day
is
to
crazy.
you, sir.
This is,
Yes.
Okay, so how do we divide the bill?
Oh man, I just had a friend say that last night. She went on a date. She said the date was really good, and she did the girl thing, and then he actually said, "You know what? Actually, like I'll let you take it since I got the first one."
Oh,
And I was like, "Whoa!"
It's a hard
No,
no to
no.
Neverland, yeah.
oh no, no,
That's a
no.
hard
Yeah.
topic, though. That's a hard
I mean,
topic.
I would prefer to go Dutch then for me.
That's what she was saying. She's like,
Yeah.
"Let's go split it." And
Do
then
a
he
lot of
just,
women
and then
do
he
that
just
now?
said, "You take the whole thing."
It happens in a lot of relationships. Like friends of mine that have been together for a long time, there is a lot of splitting. I know
Yeah.
a lot of couples that do that. I know a lot of couples that don't do that. It just really, I think it depends. But obviously, if both people aren't happy with the decision, then it's going to result.
So
in a
here's
problem.
like the rule of dating. Just make sure anybody you go out with has Venmo.
Rick is in.
No, that way you can sit there and say, "Hey, you got Venmo? Cool. Just Venmo
Oh,
me."
you just get home and then you sneak them the Venmo.
Hilarious. I might need to put that in the
yeah,
dating
there you go.
profile. Like, do you have Venmo? Please check here. That's just.
I do Dutch. Venmo me.
You're like, and you write in this, you're like bad date, and send them money. Say, here's your money. I owe you nothing.
But yeah, Priya, I wasn't feeling.
So
her.
Priya's a hard no. But what about Homegirl in episode 1, the British girl, who also lived in New York? I'd love to see her come back.
The British girl.
No, I mean,
Sarah?
the one you love, the one-
Come
yeah,
on, Sarah.
Sarah and Pooja.
Sarah got you excited because you had said
Diane Lane. Sarah Diane Lane.
Yeah, Under the Tuscan Sea.
Sting
Yeah,
and
sorry.
Julia.
Yeah.
She's gone from my memory. I haven't seen her again.
No,
Out of
you liked her
mind.
because you said,
dead to
"Oh,
Tsahai, too.
hi Aziz. I didn't know you liked a sister."
Oh,
Yeah.
Sarah, the brown
We will
girl.
remind you,
All
Gemini.
right, thank
We're gonna
you,
remind you.
Thank you. It was like Sarah, who I started thinking about, tall blonde girl. I was like, what?
No, we had a
Sorry.
conversation about, hey, you buy me a drink.
Yes,
and, yeah.
yes.
Did we have that conversation?
But Sarah,
Sure.
I mean, I had hope for Sarah, but
Well, the
no
idea
more.
like Sarah lives in New York always keeps me like, oh, maybe we'll
Yeah,
see her.
it's interesting that they chose it as a storyline because I think so far every single thing that we've seen about Dev is that he's like totally not relationship ready right now.
No, I
How
think
does he-
we
how
see
does he
that he's
express that?
lonely.
His phone got stolen. That's like
No, I get it. I just feel like he falls for people so quickly, and then
He's like Ted Mosby of
and
How
then
I
he
Met Your
kind
Mother,
of
yeah.
messes it up. Like he just is so he's Ted Mosby. He's just so weird about it, and then I think he overthinks it, and then he gets distracted by this. He's like an ADD.
Yeah, but he's just coming up
relationship
Rachel though.
person.
Yeah,
I feel like if he was, I feel like if he was
I'm
by.
saying right now, because I think
So
he's
you need
great
a
with
couple-
Rachel.
Okay.
I think he needs a couple. I think it would be good to see him like date.
But I
wanna
think
see
he's
that.
lonely, as we saw in that
He
car ride, and I
is.
think he does want to be in a relationship again. I mean, I don't know. I don't see. He doesn't. He's not. He's trying to date around, and it is not working.
Not
for
even
him.
that car ride, but even living alone in New York. Those scenes where he's in his apartment by himself.
First of all, isn't that apartment nice?
I was saying that. I was like, what the $2,300 is that? Like, it has the little French
Where
doors.
are you? The Lower East Side, like
It looks like
Washington
he-
Heights. Like
I feel
where
like
are you?
he's in
where are you
Greenpoint. I
living?
feel like that's what we're seeing.
Really?
Yeah, because they were on the G train when
Okay.
there was the masturbation vigilante.
Okay.
I really watched my season one.
Okay, but you know what? I thought the exact same thing, and in all honesty, no matter where it is in New York, you can't even get a one-bedroom like that in
No,
LA.
no.
Like, that's real nice.
Yeah.
Which is good though because it tells the
and I-
story.
No.
It tells the story of him being a TV personality. You know, he is making that kind of money.
Exactly.
We think, right. I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, this is pre-Cupcake Wars, but I mean, he had the horror, he played the doctor in the horror show, and then he had the commercials so maybe he's just getting a lot of commercials, and that's why.
Commercials can be good.
Or his dad was in real life, his dad's a doctor.
Oh, my only confusion with
But-
that was, didn't he tell Rachel on the plane when he gave her the wrong, you came from Florida, she came from Texas. Didn't he say he comes from South Carolina to her? Which
think
makes
in
it only
real
confu-
life he is.
Yeah, in real
No,
life
but he
is,
said it on
yeah.
the show. But what confused me is because his parents live in New York. It sounds like he's been in New York forever. That's my only other.
I don't remember
Again,
that.
I've watched season one.
I
I
don't know when he
see.
moved to
Come
New
to the
York.
present. Speaking of Cupcake Wars, can we talk about Chef Jeff? Because when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, Chef Jeff, you handsome."
He is real
he's
handsome.
an attractive
We
man.
like Bobby
You know,
Cannavale.
I love
you know,
him.
he's,
Bobby Cannavale.
He was on HBO's Vinyl. It's not the greatest show, but I watched it because of him. He's so powerful.
He's
Yeah.
on Boardwalk Empire, yeah.
Oh,
He
is
always plays like that very strong
And then I just
Italian.
love his personality. Like he
Yeah.
goes around and he's like, "This is dinner number 3 for me," ha ha ha, and people just go around giving him free food,
Shaking hands.
Yeah, he's giving people jobs, and then he's having like a grown-up dinner party. Like I'm obsessed with having a grown-up
Oh,
dinner
my
party.
God.
Like I want a dinner
We
party.
need to.
with-
Like, I want to make friends that are
We can have a
just
dinner party
in that.
out here. We
Are you gonna
listen,
have one at
we can go.
AfterBuzz?
Yeah, Little Caesars Pizza.
No, no.
7-Eleven's
Some
across the
salami.
street.
Young
Yeah,
Ricky,
yeah,
we
yeah.
said grown up. We said we
got Tom's.
I need John Legend to be at my
Wait,
dinner
what's
party.
the place?
Right?
We get Tom's outside too.
We can, but we're
That's
not
so
going
funny.
to.
And then we had Ravi show up in that damn tuxedo.
Oh, real quick before we get to the dinner party, did we want to say anything about his dinner with the chef? I mean, you guys pretty good on
I
that?
thought their chemistry was good. I like the fact that Chef Jeff brought him that bottle of what was it, champagne,
Yeah.
and he came off like a really good guy. And I like people that are open and loud and have a
Yeah.
lot of energy, and that's what I liked about
He
Chef
was
Jeff.
so loud that it made me nervous. I was like, is he
There's
gonna
just because
mess
there's
him
certain
over?
arrogance.
Yeah.
There's certain arrogance.
There's a certain arrogance
Yeah.
that I was like, I don't really know if he's in this for Dev or like, is he gonna like mess Dev around? I
Yeah.
don't know.
And I liked how they connect on like, oh, I heard you were in Mod Enough for a little bit. We had our best show there, and I think it was like a low key way of the chef saying that we really like what you're doing on the Cupcake Show. Even though before he hasn't really said anything yet, but I think that was like you wouldn't have that great of a dinner for no reason.
Yeah.
And
Also-
then invite to the dinner party.
As a taco lover, the fact that they bonded over
Pastor?
Yeah,
Oh, Pastor?
I thought that was cool. So that showed that he was like, even though he could eat high end food, he loves a good old fashioned taco.
That's it for your
It's a
birthday.
foodie.
I'm gonna go to Taco Bell and bring in some.
No.
Weren't they, yeah, they called themselves Pastor Pals or
Yeah,
whatever.
I thought that was
yeah.
really cute.
He's fun, yeah. This
He's
Bobby,
cute.
yeah.
And
yeah.
when-
he's full nude if you want to watch him in vinyl.
Okay.
The ding
Good
dong
to
will be,
know.
it'll look much like the microphone there. Oh, I should not have said, that's so rude. I'm so wrong.
Good
Moving
to know.
on.
I'm
Moving
lying.
on.
I'm lying. No. But the good thing is that
I'm a horrible human
he
being.
was. You like him because he was more engaging than Priya was.
Very much so. And then when Dev kind of stunned on him a little bit. He was like, "Oh yeah, I lived in Modena too." You know, he showed him that I'm not just like some uncultured guy that you hired.
Yeah.
Like I know food. Like food
Oh,
is
but
my
I
love.
like the way Dev was like, oh, yeah, I seen the episode, and then he like he fact checked him, and then Dev's like, actually, I never really saw it. I feel like all the times in my life I've done that, I'm like, yeah, I know who that actor is, yeah, and you know, you like
But
feel
he
stupid.
did it because he wanted like to bond with him, which was sweet. But he came clean, which was so Dev.
I wonder
I
if
love
thi-
that about Dev.
Yeah.
Is this season like? Remember when he was doing the movie with what's the guy's name from Archer? The actor.
From Archer.
I guess he's from Archer, isn't he? From Archer. The guy who was the other actor, the science.
Oh,
The
I
Sickening.
don't. from the Sickening. I don't.
Okay, whatever his name is. I feel like this is his Dev's like grown up character to like learn from, I guess, just like we saw last
Oh,
season.
like a
Yeah.
coach, like a
mentor?
mentor.
Or like
Okay.
like a bro, not
Just take you out of your
Yeah.
because you interact with your family.
man
you
crush.
You
It's like a
inter-
man crush.
Yeah, you interact with your friends, and then you interact with people that are like more grown and evolved. than
Right.
you. That's all.
I'm
Anyways,
sorry, I
let's
love
get to the fun part. Dinner party. Go. Tsahai, I know you got something to say, John Legend fan.
I mean, John Legend. That part was amazing. So we
So
have Dev and
and Ravi.
Ravi was there, but what's the date's name?
Francesca.
Francesca, yes. Oh, so she's there.
Like you said it with the accent there.
Did I?
He was like Francesca.
So she shows
Francesca?
up, and then Chef Jeff, he's like, hey, here, taste this food. It was just, he just made it really welcoming. You saw it that he had a wide array of friends. I'm always looking for the brown people in the background. I'm like, okay, he got brown friends. Okay, cool. Chef Jeff is, he's one for the people. I appreciate that.
Oh, it was decorated nice. Those extras all looked really good.
That's what I'm saying. Everything, it was a very handsome
Well, you're not gonna
crowd.
go to you're not gonna go to Gordon Ramsay's house. You're gonna see like some guy slumming it, like wearing Gap
never
clothing. It's
Actually-
You could always wear a tux like Robbie.
Robbie, and then put it under
That
the
was
bathroom
amazing.
sink.
it's always
really
better to be
amazing.
overdressed than underdressed.
True, but Robbie was just hilarious. So, I mean, what's interesting about the dinner party was it was a moment where they really bonded. And I was like, does Francesca like Dev because she sees that, okay, I'm from this small town and I haven't experienced all of this. Now I'm seeing him in a new light, and these are things that I could experience with him. You ever seen like a performer, like a guy who tells you, I'm a musician, and then you see him perform, and then you're like, oh. Exactly.
But it's not like you get to do it every day. This just happens to make a certain
But
special.
she doesn't know that. She's on vacation. This is vacation love.
She's also being offered this great New York experience through his
Exactly.
eyes. I actually thought that. I didn't want to jump too ahead, but I was thinking that when they were on the rooftop, which was amazing. What a feeling, right? I was thinking, like, I wonder, like, does Francesca actually start to like him in that moment? But also, does she like him, or does she like this experience
Yeah,
she's
I think
receiving?
I think
She's
the
a
total
girl who we
everything.
find out later that has only
Everything.
been with... Yeah. Okay.
I think everything, and I think also, if you think about it, she's there with her fiance, right? Expecting to have this amazing romantic vacation, even though he's working. Then he ends up working more. Then her friend saves her and exposes her to this sort of an experience. I mean, I think in some point where she's only, ever been in Modena, first of all, it's mind-blowing, no matter what friend's showing it to you. But then second of all, I think she was hoping for something to happen with her fiance. She obviously made plans, and then Dev filled in. He's like blown away all her expectations.
Substitute boyfriend, really.
Right. When you travel and you go back home, you expect to say, oh, so-and-so, Pino and I did this, and then we did this. But she had all these amazing experiences with Dev.
Yeah, the problem is she doesn't have her Pinot, but she has Dev's penis, and you can't unless he's gay. That's not going to work too well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
I felt like she was, crossing the line a little bit.
But when you're traveling, that's the whole idea, right? It's for most people is that you're going for the experience,
Right.
And she didn't. There was no ulterior. Like he was debating, do I go to Priya? Do I ask her? And she said yes. But she didn't really know she was saying yes
Arnold,
to until she got there, and then she saw the scope of. Whereas I usually lure women in and say hey, I'm going to this premiere. You want to go with me?
Oh, so that you throw it out from the beginning.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you want to go? It's like, but if you don't want to go, then it's okay.
That's what I'm saying. Dev is low key. He's low key smooth. He's not gonna be
Yeah.
overt with it. He's gonna surprise you.
I like
And that's
low
what-
key smooth.
He's been
That's
more
not
smooth this season.
He's
Even though
he's employed now. That gives you confidence.
yeah,
You know
like-
what I'm
He's
saying?
got
He's got
fans.
money.
You put on that jacket and your coat.
Yeah,
and-
you're good to go. You're good to go. So it was really interesting.
Any other comments from the dinner party I thought was funny was Robbie was like, oh, I'm the CEO of the blah, 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 blah. And she, mum by muscle. And then she goes, I'm an ordinary Italian girl. No title.
But at the same time, when you're Italian and you're beautiful and you have an accent, that's all you
That's
need to
your
be.
title, baby.
That's it. Because
it.
you remember how Robbie was like, "Oh, this is a hot one," and Dev was like, "She saw you." So I mean, right there, maybe they're both using each other. Dev's using her for her Italianness and her beauty, and just to have that female companionship, and she's using him for her New York experience. And I feel like that's sometimes how
I just like how
relationships
she
are.
wasn't phased. Like, I mean, here's this chef. He's like, "Dude, you gotta try this meat. It's so delicious." And she's like, "Tastes like ham." He's like, "You gotta try this wine." And she's like, "It tastes like a
like
boot."
feet. Yeah.
And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah, boot, yeah.
just like, no, don't get it. Just it doesn't do it.
And
for
I
me."
love that Chef Jeff was the one who broke the glass, so to speak, on his mind of like, yeah, you do like her. I could see it. He's like, no, I definitely, that's not a line I'm gonna cross. Like,
Right.
so it was Chef Jeff being all the way real.
Yeah, but I've been in places where I brought a friend and like strictly friend, and people are like, "Yo, so what's?" I'm just like, "No, man."
Yeah, but the problem is it was true with Dev.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
in this case, yes.
Yeah.
Then we ended with a long car ride home to that amazing song. So
I know, with the rain falling in the background but it was just so lonely. That's what was sad about
There's
it.
a
to me.
lot of lonely moments.
I
in this
know. Tev is lonely.
And you know what's crazy is compared to where his career was last season, he's actually doing pretty well.
But isn't that life like when you
Yeah.
finally start like
When those stresses go away,
Yeah.
then all the other
There's
things that
other,
you
you start
haven't
focus, you have a
essentially
different
made a
focus
priority,
of something
they
else
hit
that
you.
starts
And
feeling like you're not having fulfillment, right?
right, and
Yeah.
you finally get what you thought you wanted, but then there's something else that you feel like you're missing.
Well, that's life, right?
So do you think he would be more interested in having that better personal relationship with whoever he's dating
Yeah.
and less of the career? Or are you saying
It's just what you're distracted by. I think if he felt more fulfilled, I mean, granted, dude, I will sell cupcakes. I don't care. Like, I'll host anything. You know, it's fine.
You're good at it.
Well, yeah, that's what I would do. But for him, right, there's a certain thing that he's like lacking there, even though it's a job. And maybe if he was so
Yeah,
like
he's lacking the passion.
I'm on this like I'm on Homeland. I'm on Homeland, and I'm not the IT guy. I'm like the guy that's in the field. Maybe he's so distracted with work that the girl thing wouldn't be such a thing. But he's like, yeah, I've got this job and it's paying my bills, so now I have money to spend and go do with somebody. And like work life is so he
Yeah.
wants his like social life to be.
And maybe that's what amplifies the, I can't think of it, the word. The little amount of passion for great English speaking people.
I've had some bad
The
descriptions.
little
so don't
amount of
worry.
passion that he has in his romantic life, like the lack of passion, there you go,
Mm-hmm.
in his romantic life, third time's charm, because he has a lack of passion in his job right now. So maybe it's kind of like a through line, and I think that when you have that in life, then every other thing that sort of relates to that one issue that you're kind of trying to push into the back of your head gets blown out of proportion.
So he's not like internally on fire, like feeling good about everything. So
Yeah, so he's
therefore,
seeking that.
he's womp womp with the relate. Oh yeah.
And also, since we're making connections, the episode was called Dinner Party. At the museum, the piece of artwork that she wanted to see was called Dinner Party, and then they went to a dinner party.
Oh,
We
look at
watched-
you doing all that, doing the Easter eggs.
dinner party inside of a
nice.
dinner
I
party
like.
inside
I
of a dinner
like.
party.
Now your hands, what you just did, much made an what is it? ASL
We're doing
logo.
Oh yes.
But which we'll get to as we talk. It was close. Yeah, it was something like that. Anyways, which takes us to New York. I love you.
my
What a-
favorite episode. by the
Really,
way.
you're gonna deem it as that?
These were my two favorite episodes. Yes.
Okay.
So I read about this online because I'm not very familiar with New York, but I loved this episode. But I definitely think that there were things that I didn't pick up on because I'm not very familiar. Like I've spent probably 5 days there in my entire life. So I loved so many things and I related to so many things, I think, from a different background and coming
Right.
from a different culture. But then I went online to just read about it and see, you know, what sort of the New York traits were and what people thought, what people didn't. A lot of people were like, I loved it. It was so New York. It was, you know, it brought me back home. A lot of people that were out of New York now. And then a lot of people were just did not like it at all. And they were like, I sat through it, I watched it, but I felt like it was a throwaway episode.
Not me.
Yeah. Well,
I
you're
liked
a New
it.
Tell
Yorker.
us, Ronnie. Tell us what you really thought about it.
Well, I mean, it was it was the diversity of it all. Like
Exactly.
you're able to ingest so much from so many different people, and I think that makes you a better entertainer, makes you a better lover, makes you a better friend, all these things. So I liked that, and I just spoke to me also like in certain ways. Like I was a doorman concierge.
So let's
when
start
I-
with Eddie the doorman.
Yes.
Let's start with him and his. You know, he's at
Do you,
work.
yeah, do you have any of those experiences?
Well, I was so when I moved to New York, I was literally working at AfterBuzz at the time. So I was in LA, moved to New York on $1 and a dream. So I really didn't have a job.
But
so
the fact that you were able to find a job.
Yeah,
as
so
a
I took
doorman
like
is-
20,000 different jobs, and
Yeah.
one of them was doorman concierge. It was I was a roamer, so I wasn't always in the same buildings.
Okay.
Worked some high profile and not so high profile. Although I guess they're all high profile if you have a doorman, right?
Hey.
But what was cool is you really do, as a doorman, you really do go with the dirty lives of the people. I saw many of people, like they didn't know that we always had cameras in the elevators. So I saw a lot of people
Awesome.
coming in, and then like the person they were with who wasn't their spouse, like there was some belt buckles popping off. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
one.
Mr. Voyeur here. Yeah, Big Brother.
I will say I had an experience when I was working as a doorman. I met a certain individual, and then that certain individual who I don't even know or whatever. I had also my own little like.
Encounter.
I woke up the next, not that next morning, but I
Your
set up a
belt
thing.
buckle was popped.
My
Okay.
belt buckle, and so basically I worked one time, I worked one time where I was a doorman concierge at a specific building. It was a building I only worked at once, so it was kind of okay. And then, like, you get a connection with somebody, and we texted and went to dinner or whatever. But I thought it was funny. I'm like, I originally met this individual by working at the building. And then lo and behold, I'm like up in the rear. Like, I'm like, my apartment doesn't have views like this. Like, this is amazing. And goodbye, I'll never see you again, which was fine.
Right.
It was what you were doing at the moment. But maybe that's what made me, like, just tickle pink when I watched this episode and I saw how he had to, oh, hey, my wife's out of town.
Right.
Have my back. I'm like, oh yeah, that stuff happens all the time as a doorman.
But when that guy,
I loved it.
when his wife came home and Eddie, the doorman, was like, you better put that finger down, because he kept on trying to blame him. And I appreciated them showing that
moment.
Eddie was like standing up for himself, just because he was the doorman. He wasn't going to take anything from you and have you talk to him any kind of way, because he knew he said, I do a lot of things for a lot of different people, and everybody wants their needs met. They didn't, appreciate him all the time, and they don't see that he's upstairs feeding people's birds, and he also has 2 mother-in-laws at home that are watching TV. So I really appreciated them showing him like a hardworking stand-up guy, and that's the theme. You saw several hardworking stand-up people.
Remember, we all talked about how we like the TV show How to Make It in America. I think a lot of us like. I always like anytime you see that. Just a community of people trying to make their dreams happen. Yep. Whether it's like, wherever they came from and they're making their American dream, to something like really beautiful and posh. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I love the beat of that.
Yeah.
So talking about this now and thinking about it in terms of the season. So the start was sort of like an homage to Modena, where he'd actually spent time making pasta. And maybe this is sort of an homage to New York and the reasons he loves it and experiences that he's had, to kind of sort of explain without being obvious how he's been molded into the person that he is at this point in time.
I agree.
Yeah.
You can see that in the fact that we're getting to travel through the city with him. We're not just stuck indoors all the time, and so you get to see what he loves about these places, because like in actuality he's from South Carolina, and
that's what we think.
So New York is a special place, and he's had these unique experiences there. Why do you think they chose not to have any of the regular cast in this episode?
Just because it was a better vehicle. You had to watch more intently. We saw the doorman and a couple of the other guys there too, which was really cool. But then when the guy crossed the street, he went into the deli. I think they chose these people because we wanted to see all the different textures and layers of.
What do you mean, you people?
Wait, am I the only one that like turned up the volume when he went into the deli?
Yeah,
there was no sound. I was like, "What's going on here?"
It was so good.
Yeah,
I know.
It felt so good to rewind it and be like, "Oh."
I struggled too. I was like, pause.
Sometimes I also think it's from a creative standpoint, whether you're the writer or even the director. Like, I really like the directing in this episode. It's the challenges of like, as soon as they went from the deaf people to the cab, and I was waiting for the sound to kick in.
Yep.
I was waiting for it to kick in, and I was like, wait, is it kicking in here or there? And then when it finally kicked in, I kind of sat there for a second. I was like, it should have kicked in at this stage. I don't know why they did it here, but I think just sometimes you just want to challenge yourself creatively.
Yeah.
And so like maybe that's another reason why it's can we?
That I like that pause a little bit though. When the girls went into the cab.
Yeah,
And
like
then
I must have
suddenly,
said before the door
you could-
shut, I thought maybe that's when, like, as soon as you saw the deaf people like walk off, or the hearing impaired,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be politically correct,
Yes.
walk off,
Well,
is when
yeah.
the sound maybe should have kicked in.
No,
but
I
instead
was
they
okay
waited
with-
until they stepped in,
I
door
was
closed.
I was only okay with it because I feel like there's moments where you're in Manhattan or wherever, Brooklyn or whatever, that you just kind of like don't hear any sound.
'Cause
But
it's
you
so
feel,
loud,
but
it's
you
like-
feel like a lot of noise, and I thought that was a perfect way to take the deaf people's story into like these kind of shallow girls or whatever. I was okay with it. As
Yeah,
long
they're
as
just being
happy
funny.
with
They're
it,
being
too.
funny. The girls are being funny. So it's like,
I'm
why
not
are you
judging
wearing
them.
my shirt and why are you wearing my jacket?
That's
No,
the
but
part I related to the most.
I like that they didn't put the sound back on that quickly, because you would have been anticipating it. So by the time you heard that door slam, I think that's when it was like a jolt. Okay, and then now we're starting something new.
By the way, I loved that little segment of the hearing impaired with the pizza scarf.
Yeah.
And with the yelling in
and what she was
sign.
yelling about.
I mean, she
It
was
should-
very
But
upset.
the whole time I was like, oh my goodness, I wish I could do this because it makes so much sense.
You mean the
Could you
conversation she was
imagine?
having with her
yeah,
husband?
you could just like yell at whoever like that all the
You
time.
wish you could sign?
Yeah, it would be great. And then no one else would really understand what was going on. So
Except
you
there
could-
was that woman
Yeah,
whose
I
kids
know.
could understand.
But
which
it's
is
also like
hilarious.
that. The flip side of it is where sometimes you are just like having that argument and yelling. And I've been on an escalator once, and I think I cursed, and this this woman behind me had her child, and she got mad at me, but I had no idea that the kid was standing behind me, you know. So like I'm talking normal, and so that's why like they kind of reversed it where it can. I mean, probably not necessarily, but it's funny that they did the whole.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I thought my favorite part about that was like just being open into that world. Like, you know, for a lot of people who aren't into that world, I think you really don't know what their challenges are or how, you know.
Or you
how,
think
or
that
how,
their lives are very different than yours, and we saw
So when
that
she
it's
took
not.
that ownership and said, "Oh no, my vagina needs to get licked tonight," it was like. I was like, you know, trying to sign back, you know, ASL back, like, you go girl, you know, and I thought it was no mistake that the show did this because they obviously had an episode called Indians on TV where they talk about the depiction of Indians.
Right.
It was clear cut probably in the writer's room that we're going to show, you know, a really fully layered storyline, and it was cool. And they were interracial as well.
Yes.
So there was a lot going on
A lot.
without it being
There's
contrived.
always a
Without
lot
it being
going on.
contrived.
Yeah,
Maybe the
definitely.
same jacket thing was a smidge contrived, but
I thought
that's
the
funny,
jacket
though.
situation was
It
just
was.
this woman. You know, like you never know how you affect your friends, and here it is. I think she was trying to flatter her in a sense. Like she admired her so much that she wanted to like copy her style. Like I think
Girls
that's
do
it.
that all the time, though. I mean, my sister used to do that to me. My mom's done that to me. And my mom's not like, you know, like a Botox, like cool mom. My mom's just like, oh, I really like that. And then she'll just get one. And I'll be like, I got to a point in my life growing up with, you know, just women in my family sort of thing where I was like, ah, it's just going to happen.
no, I
Twinsies.
like it. I just didn't need that much more. Like I would have been cool for me to focus on the girl and her boyfriend's story because I almost
It was
like
her husband. She had a ring.
husband. I was almost like, what's happening? But my favorite part about watching it because I watched the episode twice was. I feel like you could feel your own heartbeat when you were like understanding what was happening. That first initial like, what, do I not hear anything? Like, it was just cool to me.
And what I also like I normally watch TV with subtitles.
Me too.
So it
Like
was
English also?
yeah.
Me too.
I like to.
I used to do that with my grandmother because she couldn't really see it that well, and I'm like hooked. I always do that.
Yeah, someone I dated used to do it, and he got me hooked on it. And I
Paige,
really
are you
like
the only
it.
odd one that doesn't do it?
I don't do it. No.
Sometimes they mumble too.
Yeah,
I hate when
exactly.
they mumble. I watch Sense8 now on Netflix,
Right.
And there's like a couple mumblings that I'm like, thank God I have the little cues.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of like reading the
Sometimes
script.
it ruins it for me, though, because I'm reading ahead of
True.
them talking.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, ugh, really? I mean...
I know we're gonna wrap soon, so let's do a couple other things. We got the posh, beautiful girls getting into the cab, but the
Yeah.
cool part is that the cab driver is on the phone with his.
I hate people that do that though. It's like
But it's so cab.
yeah, it is. I just hate that. It's like I'm like, dude, I'm in here. You talking to me? Who are you talking to?
But what I loved
never
is that
know.
cab driver is like every cab driver that lives in Harlem, that's come here from another country, that's working hard. Like he depicted how it is to be an immigrant trying to make a way. I mean, this person we saw was a black man, but I mean, we know people from tons of other countries
Oh,
that come in
exactly.
and you got to live with the friend of a friend. It's like 8 people in one spot. You're all working. But then to see them go to the club,
So fun.
put on their
I love
Sunday
that.
best. He was like, I'm going to wear this shirt. It's going to be cool. The girls are going to like it. And they got
We
shut
saved
down.
up for months almost. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had fun with those girls in
I
that
love that.
random way, that's what I loved. I loved seeing that group of people just have a good time.
That was definitely one of my favorite moments. That really hit me in like the heart because I feel like I moved here with a dream, and it's definitely been tough.
Aw.
And not like I moved here when I was 17 on my own, so it's one of those things where like it was just so easy for me to relate.
yeah, but you're only 18 now, so it's
Right.
like,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
like,
It's like,
Yeah.
She was a child actress. Okay.
But it was just, I loved
was a
it. I
stand-in for
just
the Olsen
loved
twins.
it. It meant a lot. Because I think a lot of the times you find like camaraderie in people that are also as new, that are trying to make it work. And I love that. That made me really happy.
Yeah, I mean, when they left the club, it was a bust.
which happens. Which I mean, it
We've
happens
all
here
been
too.
there,
Yeah,
right?
it's like you're all pumped up. You're like, yeah, let's
I
go.
mean,
And all of a sudden,
actually,
like, what
every
is
time I
going
try
on?
to walk up to a door, I get in. Just
But then
saying.
also,
I'm just joking.
it
Just
happens to
It's okay. I get
everyone.
denied, so don't worry.
I'm just
It also
joking.
happens when you get inside and you're like,
This is it. Exactly. This is what it stood in line.
Was it One Oak that they were trying to go to?
I don't know.
I thought I saw that in the background. I was like, wow, that is ambitious, guys.
I mean,
Good for you.
got to aim high. You got to
Yeah.
start at the top. You never
Yeah.
know. Like we've seen more random.
My
people
favorite
get
part
in.
was that naturally situation that came together. Like they see a group of girls,
Right.
Maybe out of their league, probably out of their league or whatever. That's not the point. But like, oh my God, this is where our friend Joe was. It Joe? This is where
Yeah.
our friend works.
Right.
And they made a situation that is such a it could be a New York thing, it could be like you say an LA
Yeah.
thing.
I think it's a
I love
beautiful
when that
thing.
happens as a
Right.
person.
Yeah.
Like I feel like as we get older, it doesn't happen as much. Like after
I know,
32.
which is sad.
You know what it is I think it's a happy person thing. To make happy out of whatever economic situation you're in, I loved that.
And I like
but
the
those
way-
girls are just hungry, so they had like ulterior motives.
but
He's
even
like, give me some fries.
But the coolness that the connection was these cab drivers who knew the guy inside, like, oh, I live for those kinds of things where you start your night at 6 p.m. and like you had no clue all the different places you were going to
But
go.
when you start at 6 p.m., sometimes you think this night is gonna be epic. We're gonna get in. We're gonna be, chilling with Rihanna in the club and the VIP service. And so sometimes we go out with these high expectations, if that's what you think is a fun night. But sometimes this episode shows less is more. Sometimes, and just meeting.
And company is important.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the documentary, the Minimalism or the minimal?
No.
That also taught that same thing. Like you could really have fun almost in any circumstance.
You mean the TV show The Mentalist? No, I'm just kidding.
Right now,
Same thing.
I
It was
love
the
that
same
one.
thing.
No.
It's
Yes.
time for us to have final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Wrap it up.
Final thoughts as they end up at the movies came together perfectly because you get to see all the different characters.
And what I loved about that, it showed all these people have different lives, but it's entertainment and movies and films and TV shows that we all like that bring us together.
I am Deshaun Townsend. Deshaun Townsend is me.
I like it. I think it speaks to what's driven Dev for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
I liked it a lot.
You see a lot of people throughout the day. Some of them could have an impact. Some of them are your neighbor and you don't know nothing about their lives. It was just a beautiful episode. We got a lot to look forward to. So that was episode 5 and 6.
Right.
And see, now we can start getting depressed because now there's only 4 more
I
left.
know. But did our guys get an Emmy nod? Am I?
I'm not sure.
They're
but
pushing
we-
for it. They're
They're
pushing. I
pushing
don't
for it,
know if
okay.
it's happened yet.
Well,
I don't know.
maybe
They
by next week we'll know.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Lena was on the cover of a magazine, like with the a bunch of people that I think were possibly being nominated. So.
But yeah, if you guys are going to be
into
in
it.
LA this weekend at UCB, you can get tickets because like the producers and the actors are going to be at UCB.
Oh, nice.
I'm
I
trying.
thought I saw that,
I'm trying to
yeah.
look into it, but it's on
Not
Sunday.
just this
Sunday,
show, but-
June 4th.
I'm gonna check it
Master
out.
of None.
But it was other shows
I
too, I
see.
think.
Okay, maybe yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like
All the for your consideration people, like people
I
who are
love that.
possibly being nominated. Cool.
that's fantastic. Yeah, you're gonna go.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see.
Okay.
But that's for people who are watching
Get
that are
yourself a
interested.
walk-on role
yeah.
next episode,
Hey.
brother. They need to work in a podcast host somewhere. All right.
And
Well, go ahead.
also, before we go, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on YouTube that watches us and all the people that listen
Yes.
to us on podcasts. Last week, Bryce Fryer commented.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks,
and,
Bryce, for watching.
Blue Textbooks commented.
I
so
don't
thank
remember
you
who
so much.
commented, but
Thanks,
somebody
Lou.
said Tsahai is gorgeous.
Aww.
I don't. Was it one of
Was
those
it
people?
Bryce?
It was Bryce.
That's why he
Thank
got named
you.
first.
I
That's why.
mean,
Nobody commented that Rick is handsome. Like,
I
what's
mean that's
happening?
coming.
Hey, it's okay,
that's,
man,
That's
it's
a
okay.
given. He
All
didn't
right.
need to say it.
This is fantastic. Master of None. We're going to look into episodes 7 and 8 next week, and then, of course, we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
I actually am getting okay with the idea that it's almost over. I have one more episode to watch.
Okay.
I haven't watched the final yet, so
Are you gonna save it?
I don't know. Originally, when I talked to you guys last week, I was like, I'm absolutely going to go home tonight and watch it, but I'm feeling really, like, okay with it. I'm ready for it to be closed, and I'm even ready for it to be a whole nother year plus to see season 3.
Yeah,
The show
exactly.
gives me
It's definitely
enough.
gonna be a year plus, right.
The show, like, normally, I'm like, no, I need it in 6 months, but the show gives me enough that I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm happy, I will
So that
say.
you could watch it again.
Yeah, so I don't know how the ratings are, or not ratings, but I don't know how
Yeah,
it's doing.
Netflix hasn't released those,
But
so.
Netflix is winning. They got the Hassan Minaj stand-up, which is really great.
So good. Check it
I'm
out.
loving Sense 8 again. Season 2 is
Except they
fantastic.
canceled it today.
Sense 8?
It's done. No more.
I'm okay
Sense8.
with that too because I'm not a sci-fi person and it goes over my head all the time. So I'm always like, I need to take notes. So I'm okay with the story ending. But they also have Dear White People, which I didn't know was going to be this good. I watched the movie a lot, but I never thought the series would be good. And so they got some great and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes.
So-
Well, we'll be back next week, which will also be my birthday week, June 8th.
That's
so
right.
stay
I'm
tuned.
bringing Taco Bell.
Yes.
I'm
Please
br-
send gifts to AfterBuzz.
Stop
Thank
it.
you very
Bryce,
much.
send her a birthday message, please.
Yes.
I know.
and you
Why
can-
are we all good looking?
We're gonna have Little Caesars here.
Exactly. You can catch me on Instagram or Twitter and sometimes on Snapchat at Say Hi Tsahai, SayHiTsahai. See you next week.
And I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong.
And I'm Paige Bach, and you can find me at Paige Kelly Bach on all social media.
All right, and I'm Randomly Ronnie Jr. You can find me at Randomly RJ or on my website, randomlyronniejr.com. I love Master of None, and we are done.
Nice.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.